What is going on, guys? Chris here. Random Sunday video. I already had a video that I uploaded this morning. Slacked a little on the long form videos this week. Um, some of you might be wondering why I didn't do a video on all of the gigantic news this week for Smite. I talked about it every day on stream, and I just couldn't bring myself to make a video. I don't know why. Probably because everyone else had already made them. I usually make videos on this talking about Smite's future. I've been arguably one of the biggest advocates for Smite 2's success and its future. It's very rare that I was ever 100% wrong. If you go back and look at any video I made predicting what the Smite 2 future would look like, what it would look like at launch, what the player base would look like free-to-play launch, what the Vegas tournament would produce, without arrogance, I've been right pretty much the entire way, dating back to almost an entire year ago. Until this last week. I thought, worst case scenario, we are going to be losing esports. My prediction was, I made a big post in the Ambassador Discord where I talked about how important esports is when the rumors came out that there might be potential layoffs, and I was like, they're going to lay off esports, aren't they, right? So I thought, transparently, worst case scenario, that we were going to lose esports until 2026, meaning that we would probably see exactly what we saw last year, where we don't have anything throughout the entire year, and then going into fall and winter, we'll have some online qualifier tournaments for maybe like a Worlds event with a pending prize pool amount known later in the year based on how well Smite 2 performs. That was my prediction. Anybody who says, I mean, there's tons of hate comments on Twitter. I get them all the time, right? Anybody who says, "Ha, I told you so," is full of shit. They're full of shit. The analytics coming out of January did not point to these layoffs. The player base averaging between 15,000 and 20,000 for pretty much the weeks following the free-to-play are well within expectation for a thriving game. So then you would ask, well then, why the layoffs? I predicted this back in September. I don't think I actually put it in a video, but I talked about it a lot on stream. They did layoffs in October. The game was not performing well. You guys can go rewatch those. We won't rehash out the entire 2024 and the decisions that were made that I think directly affected the progress of Smite 2 or the success of Smite 2 as a whole. But October layoffs, they happened. I made a video on it. Obviously, clearly expressed frustration. And the bulk of the layoffs in October came directly from teams outside of Smite, understandable, and then marketing, cosmetics, and monetization implementation into the game. Meaning, we do not believe that Smite 2 is ready to have buyable cosmetics in the game yet, because we don't believe this is a product that is ready to monetize. We need to make the game ready first, an acceptable version of the game. We need the game to be where we want it to be, and then we will monetize it. Now, what I said in October was, I said, you killing your monetization going into quarter four meaning like the end of the year, the 3 months at the end of the year, you killing your monetization going into the end of quarter four means you're not going to make any money throughout all of quarter four outside of people purchasing the founders pack. If I thought the downsizing at that point might suffice to be enough to carry them through quarter four into free-to-play launch. However, they not only didn't make skins, I thought they were downsizing the amount of skins they were creating. They not only didn't make skins, they didn't make anything. Even into we're getting the Wandering Market tomorrow, which will probably be it looks great, but it's it's a month too late. The Wandering Market, in my opinion, should have launched at free to play. The moment free to play was available, it should have launched the Wandering Market. And then maybe we could have waited a month to see what sales were like to maybe to retain some of these employees. But in my opinion, and I know some of this post contradicts what I said. I think they replied and said over the last 2 weeks they didn't meet metrics on expected new players coming to the game, which led to the layoffs. which is a tad confusing, but regardless, I think, in my opinion, they knew of the second wave of layoffs in October when they did the first round of layoffs. In my opinion, it's just those people were too important to the team, and you knew you weren't going to get a return on that investment over that quarter four because you killed your monetization. I think they knew about these unless they had a Hail Mary increase of new players flooding in. And I think that's what frustrates me the most is I think they knew about, not all the people at high res, but I think the people at the top who made the decisions for the layoffs in quarter four knew about the layoffs that were expected in quarter one unless a Hail Mary happened. I think that's what frustrates me the most is because a lot of those people, busted their ass for 3 months to save this game, and without a shadow of a doubt, they did save this game. The game is genuinely fantastic. Anybody who says it's not at this point is just a hater. You need to move on to something else, right? Get off your burners, go do something else. There's going to be hate comments on this YouTube. There's going to be hate comments on my Twitter. That's okay, right? That's fine. But at the end of the day, you're full of shit. The game is good. Every top player, regardless of what you think that they're just saying this because of their income, regardless, is saying this is a good game, right? If it were true that everyone was just saying this because it directly affected their income, there would be some people who you would see while they play it express frustration. Go watch the creators play. They're having fun. Go watch the pros that also make content play. They're having fun. Vegas was a wild success. The NA-EU rivalries, the viewership was pretty solid. The player base throughout that entire weekend was good, right? Everything was heading in the right direction. But it wasn't making money. So, here we are. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going and playing other games. I'm not... If anything, all this has done is make me say I need to do more. So, that's what we're doing. We're doing more. We are doing a $3,000 Joust tournament on the 22nd of February. $3,000. No pay entry. The goal is to be able to do one of these per month, including conquest tournaments with cash prizes, including maybe a duel tournament or two with cash prizes. Possibly, this is up for discussion in my brain right now, possibly just winner takes all. No second place prizes, no third place prizes. Best team, you're taking the whole pot. So a $3,000 Joust tournament. This first one I'm doing does have second place prizing. First place is getting $2,400, second place is getting $600. I'm leaning towards, if I do a $5,000 conquest tournament, $5,000 or $1,000 per player to the winner, right? That's up in the air though. Don't want to rant on that too much, but my plan is I want to see how well the viewership is, cut them up into YouTube videos, see how well the viewership is on those, to try to get some form of competition and money flowing into the competitive side of Smite, to have people to have something to work towards, maybe even if it's just waiting, while they go to college, finish college, do some day jobs, whatever it is this year, or maybe even take a shot at content. I want to try to supplement money into the comp scene the best I can individually. However, I do still create content for a living. I still do provide for a family. My wife stays home with the kids, so I do have to be careful with my budget. So, people asked, why don't you just crowdfund? The reason I don't want to just crowdfund every single tournament is because every single person within the Smite community has an economic value to Smite and its community, right? At some point, every individual is going to spend X amount on gems, X amount on gifted subs to streamers, maybe donations to streamers. And then if I also add the, more, that doesn't directly bring more to Smite, it just shifts where the support goes, right? And the support everywhere is important. Supporting your favorite creators is important. Gifting subs, allowing people to watch ad-free, all that stuff is important. Buying gems and diamonds and skins is important. to all of a sudden expect to push that responsibility onto the community who is already struggling with morale right now is not what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to reach out to my sponsors like GamerSups or maybe Into the AM, the apparel company that sponsors me, or any of the other sponsors I work with, and maybe show them, like, we had a great viewership on this tournament, and then the YouTube videos got this much, and maybe they can throw, a couple grand our way for this next one, and then we can help fund that one, right? I would like to do these monthly. I have a lot of plans for YouTube for content. The devs that are still there are still killing it. So if there's any questions as to, like, why should we keep supporting Hi-Rez when they just keep fucking up our game, let me reiterate, there are a lot of devs that have continually killed it in this scene. Forget what anyone says about Smite 1 not being a success. You're wrong. We've survived on similar numbers to this for the better part of 12 years, okay? These numbers on a day like today, after how bad this week, we're hitting a peak right now of still, probably maybe 12 to 13,000 on Steam per day. Console numbers being probably usually somewhere between 3 to 5 times higher than Steam numbers, including Epic Games, which I don't know what that would be. So this is probably total players, if you include everything, maybe more into the 35 to 55 range, maybe even up to 60 PlayStation's been down, so maybe not so much this weekend, but usually PlayStation, Xbox, and like the other platforms are going to add maybe 3 to 6 times this amount, arguably, right? But we only ever have access to these numbers, so this is all we can talk about. But if you're talking about a 40 to 50,000 player base per day peak, and even some of those people start buying this wandering market, Smite 2 is going to be in a good place. Smite 2 as a game is in a good place. Let me just show you, just for full transparency's sake. Full transparency's sake here, right? People talk about like the 30,000 peaks, but those were never consistent. And this was only during COVID numbers, right? Even for the better part of like 2019 and before that, look at this, right? These are the numbers we're at right now. Right? So when you're like, oh, Smite's dying, Smite's dead, those numbers at launch weren't good. These are the same numbers we ran with. Yes, we had peaks during COVID, especially during January, but then we went back down to 21, back down to 14, back down to 15 or 16. So again, you look at that same thing here, and our numbers are already eerily similar, right? 21. So we can survive with these numbers, right? It is fine. We can build our way back up, and that's what I intend to help do. There will be a lot of people, again, who say this is stupid, you should just leave. I'm not, man. I'm not leaving. If anything, this week has just said I'm putting more in, I'm investing more time, I'm investing more resources, because I believe the game can be a success. I said it 4 months ago when we were at 1,300 players. Throughout this entire time, my passion for this game and building something out of Smite 2 never wavered during this time. Days where I got on and there was 1,100 people on. Days where I got on and there was only 500 people on at, like 10 a.m., right? So if you don't think I'm still here now when we're up at 11,000 after arguably the worst news, in my opinion, Smite has ever received in its 11 or 12 years, the worst. After the worst year in Smite history, right? If you don't think this still doesn't give the Smite players hope, right? This is good. Smite will never be what it once was before whatever it was in this date here. Whatever, it was like Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. Smite will never be what it was. We've lost that. That is over. That era of Smite is over. We grieve that. The people that left are invaluable. They cannot be replaced. The previous 12 years is gone. It is never coming back. That does not mean Smite is dead. That does not mean Smite 2 is dead, sorry. Smite 1. Still 3,000, honestly. But still 3,000, which means, you probably still have like 10 or 15 if you include consoles. Smite's dying. Smite 2, on the other hand, not dying. The game is good. The game has a lot of potential. I'm going to be running cash tournaments. I know Bobby's talking about tournaments. I know Rexy's talking about tournaments. Weekend's talking about tournaments. If there's ever any faith you can place in somebody, put it on the creators and continue to put it on the devs that have made this game as good as it is. Just because I said the previous 12-year era is over and those people are irreplaceable, as true as that is, that does not mean we can't build something new. At some point, however many years ago, right? 10 years ago, this game didn't have what we just lost. It built something from scratch, and it's a different era, so it doesn't mean it's going to be easier. Doesn't mean it's going to be hard. It's going to be more. It's going to be different. There's a whole new generation of players that could come play. There's a whole new generation of esports players who are going to step up and start competing. There's a whole new generation of creators that might be better than any creators we've even seen, better than me, right? That are going to come into this scene over the next, hopefully, 10 years again, because we can survive on these numbers. Hi-Rez couldn't survive on the numbers they had for a variety of reasons. A lot of failures of leadership. It's part of the business. It's very frustrating. I've talked about this on stream a lot. It's very frustrating. I'm not going to go into all the poor decisions that led here, but the way I described it to people, I was in business for a long time. I taught leadership training to people for a long time. I taught people how to manage for a long time. It was what my career was prior to this. The main issue, without going into detail, was Hi-Rez consistently made the correct decision in the moment. But the reason that it was poor decisions long term is because it was constantly correcting an issue they chose not to pre-plan for and prevent. Right? You could start right off with it, and I said I wasn't going to go through them, but like just to give you a small brief timeline. They lowered prize pool amounts way back in the day, caused a lot of their big orgs to leave because the risk became too high. I could go into this more in detail if you guys wanted me to at some point, but they lowered the prize pools way back when. Like way down. The first couple of prize pools were in the millions. Then they were down to, 1 million, then it's down to 800,000, then it's down, right? And then the past few ones were like 400,000 or whatever they were, right? Killing their prize pools led to a lot of big orgs leaving. Lower prize pools also brings in lower viewership. More players and fans are willing to watch something even if they don't play it anymore. If there's life-changing money on the line, it's just a fact. When there's not life-changing money on the line, it's hit and miss on as many people showing up. They then decided to bring in Mixer, right? Maybe the right decision at the time, completely funds the Pro League, but Mixer didn't work out. But it might have been the right decision in the time, but that slowly crept into not having as good of a viewership base, which led to more esports orgs leaving. Then with the esports orgs they had left, they weren't big enough and didn't offer enough value to keep them there, so they brought everything in-house into Atlanta because the orgs that were still there probably weren't worth investing in since they were basically paying the orgs to pay the players, which is unheard of in almost all of esports. So instead they decided to bring everything in-house and they just decided to pay the players directly because the players were very important to the health of esports. However, that created an unhealthy competitive environment and they likely overspent millions of dollars lost per year for esports. Esports are always directly important. Anyone who says different is wrong. Esports are very important to the long-term health. There is no direct return on investment, but you get investment from people being... There's less loss due to attrition. Attrition meaning people just gradually leaving the game for a variety of reasons. They got older, they got different jobs, they play different games, whatever. They didn't just decide to leave because of a patch. They decided to just slowly stop playing because they moved on to other things. That's attrition. Esports lowers the loss due to attrition because it keeps people invested more. It gives people things to do. People will watch the Worlds and then be like, yo, I kind of want to play again. That's why we always get the big jumps in January. New patch coming out, Worlds just happened, there's a lot of hype, people come back and try it, and then they decide to stay, and then we slowly dwindle back down throughout the year until January again, then we pop back up. Long story short, right? And then, they should have, invested in Smite infrastructure a long time ago instead of trying the other games. Nothing wrong with diversifying your game portfolio. It is the main goal of all game studios. But, the games didn't work out for a variety of reasons. That led to more loss. So you see what I'm saying? Like, they kept making decisions which were admirable. Like, that might have been the right decision in the moment, but they never made the correct decisions at the time to prevent future issues, right? We should have been working on Smite 2 since 2022 as an example, and given the community a product already 2 years into development instead of maybe 8 to 10 months into development, right? But we needed, here's the issue though, we needed Smite 2 ASAP at the end of season 10. We couldn't wait, right? I would argue we might almost be in a worse position if we just tried to force Smite 1 to stay, right? We'll never know. But if you look at the Smite 1 numbers, we were bleeding players, You know, well before even Smite 2's announcement. And especially if you go to viewership, same thing. Like, we were losing viewers, we were losing esports watchers, we were losing everything. So, all of those decisions come from management. All of those decisions come from executives. All of those decisions come from the high-res, higher-ups, the board. The board continually made decisions, which, again, to give them credit, might have been okay in the moment, but they didn't make decisions that would benefit next year. They made decisions that would benefit this quarter. They made decisions that would benefit this year rather than the long-term health of the game. And those decisions ultimately led to us losing, the community, losing people who made Smite. And that's where the community frustration is. Your lack of quality decision making and leadership led to us losing the people that make Smite. The executives, even though you own it, you don't make Smite. You don't. Don't get me wrong. Without you, it wouldn't exist. We understand that. That's how businesses work. But those people are equally as important as the people who own the company, if not more, right? Even all the way down to a single individual. A single individual is as important with this type of product because that's how it differs from other business, because they are the product. It's not the same as other types of businesses where layoffs are just like, that is what it is. These are people who make the product, and the product is them. That was their God. That was their idea, and it's something that we internalize as part of the game. They are part of the game. Losing Aggro, losing Lermy, and losing Trelly, and losing the other esports people in Gore, and like all these people, even the community managers, they were Smite. And with us losing them, Smite, a part of it, has died. That doesn't mean the game is dead. I'm going to continue to invest in it. I've rambled on for way too long here, I'm going to be honest with you. If you guys came to stream, this is pretty much all we've been doing. But the passion is not gone. The optimism is not gone. If you're a hate watcher, if you don't think I'm going to be making a tweet literally probably right as soon as this video ends, I'm probably going to go do it right now. This will not stop our content. Smite 2 will succeed. Even if it's just me left creating content through this year. Even if it's just me and like weekend and fine, okay. Even if it's just, I'm Nika. I don't know who, we might lose some big creators this year too, but who knows? Shout out to every single person that supports creators. Now more than ever, you supporting a creator, whether it be lurking, whether it be financially, whether it be however you're doing it, can help keep Smite alive during this year, Smite 2. Those people continually influencing people to come try the game, play the game, on whatever scale that they can, will let people continue to play this game, which will let people continue to make this game. Support creators, support these tournaments we're doing and other people are doing. Leave lurks, put it on your laptop before you go to work, leave viewers up, help with ad revenue, like, comment, and subscribe on not just mine, everybody's YouTube videos, whatever. Interact with tweets. You don't got to spend a single cent. Drop a like, drop a comment on a tweet, on a video, leave a lurk on a stream, use your primes, whatever you got to do. We'll make this happen. I'll see you guys next video. Sorry, this was like 23 minutes. Goodbye.